Actually, yeah, there we go.
Welcome to segment 6. We're going to talk about Planned Parenthood. Gretchen was at the Aurora Planned Parenthood, what was it, a rally? I'm not quite sure what it was. Protest. Let's all hold hands and kumbaya. So it was huge.
It was very large. They said the organizers thought there was 1,600. I think they were being conservative. I would say there's more like 3,000. They actually did sing Amazing Grace. We said the Lord's Prayer. So yeah, it was not unlike your description of it, but it really was like one of those early tea parties. Just a lot more people than you expected showed up, and it was really it was moving. It was impressive, and like I said in the video, it was a show of force. It really was. There are people who protest outside of that Planned Parenthood every Saturday, and I'm sure.
You're saying that.
Yeah, I'm sure that on a regular basis, it's probably only a handful, and so the people at this Planned Parenthood are used to being protested against,
Right.
but nothing like this. This was beyond, probably their wildest
I have a
dreams.
question for you too about that.
Sure.
Were there any other members of the media there?
There's a guy I'm Facebook friends with who put like a summary of everything, and he said WGN was there and somebody else. I saw a reporter with a WBDM microphone, like the thing on his microphone said WBDM, so I think it's the AM radio, right. WBDM.
I didn't say anything Tribune to it.
But no, he had, my friend on Facebook had like 2 links, and I can't remember what the other one was besides WGN, but there really wasn't as much as you would hope for.
Right.
So I don't know if they contacted the media and the media just blew them off, or maybe they didn't contact.
Wrong side of the story.
Well, exactly, and that's entirely possible. But yeah, On Target News was there.
On Target News. And want to thank Ed Bronkowski.
Yes, he
because
took the
if I
video.
couldn't make it, Ed shot that little bit of video.
I ran into Ed advantageously, and he agreed to shoot the video for me, and he did a fine job.
He did. Someday he may have a rewarding career in videography.
Volunteer videography.
This happened across the country.
Yes, I have read that there were about 320, maybe slightly more than that. So yeah,
320.
It went out in social media. There was like a hashtag for it. On Friday night, I saw that there were over 4,400 tweets about it using just that one hashtag. So if there were other hashtags, I don't know about it, but just that one hashtag, there was over 4,400. So it went out, and the word went out in social media, and people really turned out to protest.
How would you characterize the demonstration itself, the people who were there?
Very loving, very religious, I would say. You could tell by the way people are either dressed or by the things that they're saying. They're either devout Catholics, devout Pentecostals, other types of evangelicals and Protestants. There were priests in like full cassocks. There were, it was just very religious, I would say, for the most part. Now there's within the pro-life movement, there's always a few that are not religious, and there were some of those, but I would say overall it was mostly religious people.
Do you have a tally of perhaps how many television sets were stolen or stores were burned down or anything like that?
Yeah, the exact count is 0. Yeah, there's no looting, there's no fighting, there's no shouting, no fire set, no police cars overturned or vandalized. Yeah, and as with most of the tea parties that I've been to, probably was cleaner when we left than when we got there. So, yeah, absolutely.
Every year at iGold, the Illinois Gun Owners Lobby that the Illinois State Rifle Association puts on, the guards down the state capitol always comment about how we are like the biggest group of people that comes down there. And when we leave, it's spotless. They never have any problem with anybody.
Yeah, everybody's very polite.
They're very polite.
Compared, like, they told us, like, have your IDs ready when you go into these buildings to show security. And like, after the first couple of people, security was like, it's really not necessary. I really don't have to do that. But like, literally, everybody's standing with their driver's license out. I mean, like, everybody was trying to do what we were told to do. And yeah, it was, it's very, iGold is very organized.
Do you go people every year, both of you guys?
Is what?
Do you go every year?
No,
I actually, this year was my first year.
Yeah.
going to
I'm
iGold.
generally open.
Oh,
I was MC 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So overall, it was very organized. Was there anything actually done? It was just people standing
No,
show of
actually,
force?
no, it was very organized. There was a group called the Pro-Life Action League, and they apparently, at least in this area, they organized that protest. And so they had reserved a parking area for us at a local Catholic church. And they had arranged for a school bus to shuttle people back and forth, because it was probably about 3/4 of a mile one way from the Catholic church to the Planned Parenthood. So they had a school bus that they had rented, and we were shuttling people back and forth. They had a little canopy set up for their people, work and registration, and they had a microphone and a little speaker. And they actually had speakers lined up. I'm not sure who. There was one guy that was talking. He said he was a Presbyterian minister. Jill Stanek was there. If you don't know who she is, she's an Illinois person who's very well known in the pro-life movement, because she was one of the people that really fought hard to get the Infants Born Alive Act passed in Illinois, which Obama voted against. She was a nurse that saw one of these incidents. She saw a baby that was aborted, but it lived, and the other people in the hospital ordered her not to give this baby care, and they like literally were going to put it in a closet to die. And at that point, she became very upset and very active in the pro-life movement. She's, like I said, locally, she's very famous in the pro-life movement. So she was there. She spoke. So yeah, there was some different speakers. Like I said, they had everybody say the Lord's Prayer. They had everybody sing Amazing Grace. They wanted everybody to do, after all the talking was done, they wanted everybody to do a Jericho march, like around the block where the Planned Parenthood was, and like everybody had their signs. And so it was pretty amazing to see all these people like walking all this distance. But yeah, it was, then they announced, like, they had people sign in, and so then they announced, like, oh, people from St. Francis of Assisi and Bolingbrook are here, and like they announced all the different churches that had brought groups, and they announced the Will County Republican Party, they announced Will County Young Republicans, so yeah, it was actually very, very organized. They had signs for people to hold.
No, Father Fledger, though, huh?
No, Father Fledger couldn't make it, apparently.
I'm not too worried about pronouncing his name correctly.
Well, no.
He's not big in my books.
No, it's just the German to me.
This all really blew up because of the recordings. That's what really started it. And Planned Parenthood keeps saying, there's only a couple places that do this, and it's not a profit thing at all. Yeah. Then you fast reverse back to a woman over lunch is negotiating with one of the clients, and he's going like, how much is this going to cost? And she says, well, I'd like to buy a Lamborghini.
Yes.
How does a non-profit thing
Right.
generate enough money to pay someone to buy a Lamborghini? I would like to buy that Lamborghini we saw on that thing that I covered for the magazine. How much was that puppy?
I don't
$350,000, $400,000, I think. Yeah. How many dead babies do you have to sell
A lot.
to make that kind of money?
A lot.
Yeah. So they're disingenuous at best.
Yes.
At best.
Yes. And they're saying, like, this article, which was obviously written by a liberal, says that abortion accounts for about 3% of their services, but it's also their main generator of revenue. So, you can't, I don't see how you can call yourself a nonprofit and take money from the government, ostensibly operating as a charity for the benefit of the public, when you're turning around and taking money for abortions and then selling selling the product of that
Which,
abortion.
which in and of itself is a federal crime.
Yes, and it does acknowledge that Congress is looking into whether they violated the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act.
Some of those you haven't watched, right?
I have not been able to bring myself to watch. I've
Probably good.
basically read a synopsis of every single one of them now.
I've watched it, and you know, I mean, I'm a Vietnam guy in medical corps, and I saw some pretty ugly things.
Right.
These are really disgusting.
That last one, just reading about what was in it.
Yeah.
I was so upset I couldn't sleep.
I watched it. It's I don't. First of all, I just don't understand how you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't get how you can functionally do that.
Yeah.
You saw the woman who worked for him and quit. And she was she found it very, very chilling
Yes.
to do that and throw in the towel. But
The last few years have been very encouraging, and I'm glad. You know, I hate what's going on, but I'm glad that the Center for Medical Progress did these videos, because you know, people like me, I was very encouraged in the last couple of years. A lot of abortion clinics have closed. A lot of Planned Parenthoods and other abortion clinics across the country. There's this group called 40 Days for Life, and in the spring and in the fall, for 40 days, every day, they organize people to go and stand in front of the abortion clinic and just pray. They do nothing but hold signs and pray. It's peaceful demonstration for 40 days. And because of these demonstrations, largely, a lot of abortion clinics have closed, and a lot of people who work in the industry have quit, because it's really opened their eyes to what's going on. And I was feeling much better about what was going on. And so I'm really glad that these videos came out as a wake-up call to people like me who might otherwise be complacent.
yeah, it's if you haven't watched the videos, they can be pretty disgusting, and that comes from somebody who does not disgust easily.
No.
But they like to talk about this in terms of tissue.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the video, you're looking at a kid. I don't care what anybody says. It's got fingers and toes and eyes and ears, and you're looking at an infant. It's that simple. It's not tissue. You're looking at a baby. And here's a very interesting observation that somebody made in an article earlier this week. If you're pregnant and I shoot you and kill your baby, I've committed 2 murders.
And frequently, depending on the state, it frequently be charged with. Right?
Exactly. Now, how is that different? Why is that killing a human being and abortion isn't?
Good question. And the pro-life people have been asking that for years. You know, there's a huge double standard between a child who is wanted and a child who is not wanted. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, no one has ever been able to explain to us any other distinction other than that.
So, once again, segment 6 has not solved any problem. But we like to kind of dig around the edges and pick at it until it ticks people off enough that maybe you'll get involved. If you weren't there on Saturday, you should have been. I would have been, but I didn't know about it until Friday night, and I already had an obligation for Saturday. Otherwise, I'd have been. So, they do it again, I'll go. Any other last pithy words?
I would just say, you know, keep writing to your Congress people and keep telling them to defund Planned Parenthood. That's going to be the best thing that we can do towards putting them out of business.
And a number of states have begun. The federal government is dragging their feet, but a number of states have already done it. So that's a good thing.
It is. Yes.
That's it for this week's segment 6. Next week, we'll bring you more red meat issues that affect your life.